Hello class, my name is Gina Tassinari and I am going to be your instructor for this section on hernias. I have the 2014 CPT code book. I have it open to page 261. I am in the surgery digestive system and there are two codes there that have been carved out away from the hernia section, and they are on page 261, and those are codes 43281 and 43282. These are laparoscopic hernia repair codes of the paraesophageal hernia. They include fundoplasty when performed. 43281 is without the implantation of mesh, and 43282 is with the implantation of mesh. So I want you to write down page 261, codes 43281 and 43282, paraesophageal hernias. I want you to write that down on a piece of note paper because we are going to make a note about it in our hernia section. If you don't have notebook paper with you and a pen or a pencil now, you may want to stop this video and grab it so you can make some notes. I just turned my pages to the hernia section, and that's page 281. I'm sorry, 288. 288, hernia, herniorrhaphy, herniotomy. We're going to start off with codes 49491, 49492, 49495, and 49496. These four codes, 49491 through 49496, they all talk about post-conception age. This paragraph here and this paragraph here, they're both explaining to you what the post-conception age is. What the post-conception age is the number of weeks the mom was pregnant when she gave birth. So that would be the baby's gestational age. Right. And the number of weeks old the baby actually is at the time of the surgery. So I wrote some examples down here. So we have baby A. Baby A, the mom's gestation at birth was 27 weeks. And the baby's age at the actual time of surgery was 6 weeks. You add the two together and that makes the baby's post-conception age 33 weeks. Baby B, the mom's gestation at birth was 27 weeks, and the baby's age at the time of the surgery was 26 weeks. You add the two together, and that makes this baby 53 weeks post-conception age. So his post-conception age is 53 weeks, but his actual age at the time of the surgery was 6 months old. And baby C, the mom's gestational age at birth was 28 weeks, and the baby's age at the time of surgery was 24 weeks, just under 6 months, 2 weeks under. And you add the two together, and it's 52 weeks post-conception age. All of these babies were born premature. They all were born under 37 weeks, so their gestational age, their age, the mom, the gestational age of the baby is how many weeks pregnant the mom was when she gave birth. So they're all premature. They're all under 37 weeks. So now if we come back to these codes, we can use these babies to pump into some of these codes here. All right. So repair initial inguinal hernia, preterm baby, preterm infant, younger than 37 weeks gestational age at birth. All of our babies were younger than 37 weeks gestational age at birth. Okay. Performed from birth up to 50 weeks post-conception age. Now this is the reducible hernia, and the indented code to it, 49492, is for the same age range, but it is the incarcerated or strangulated hernia. Reducible is a hernia that can be pushed back into place when they repair it. And an incarcerated or strangulated hernia is one that is trapped, and in some cases strangulation is occurring. And when strangulation is occurring, that means that the organ is not getting blood supply, which runs a high risk of infection, gangrene, necrosis, So the loss of losing that organ. So strangulated and incarcerated hernias can be pretty serious and pretty dangerous. So the hernia has to be freed up from this incarceration or strangulation before it can be pushed back into place. So 49491 and 49492 is for babies who are younger than 37 weeks gestation at the time of their birth, and they are under 50 weeks post-conception. So baby A was 27 weeks. All of these babies were less than 37 weeks. So in that piece, they fall into it. Baby A was 6 weeks old at the time of the surgery, and when you add the two together, you get 33 weeks. Now, while baby C and baby B, while they were both under 37 weeks gestation age, we got 27 weeks gestation and 28, they are all older than 50 weeks post-conception, so neither one of these babies can fall into these two codes. Now, when we look at 49495 and 49496, all right, this reads the repair of an inguinal hernia, full-term infant. Well, none of our babies were full-term, baby A, B, or C. None of them were full-term. It says full-term infant younger than age 6 months, right, or a preterm infant older than 50 weeks post-conception age and younger than 6 months at the time of the surgery. Well, we do have a baby that falls into that, right? We know baby A doesn't because he's less than 50 weeks post-conception age. But baby B and baby C, they are both over 50 weeks post-conception age. Baby C, though, is 6 months old. And this code says you have to be younger than 6 months at the time of the surgery. So that rules baby B out. And baby C, though, falls into it because baby C is under 6 weeks old. He's under 6 months old. He's 24 weeks, so he's under 6 months old. And he is older than 50 weeks post-conception. So baby C will fall into these two codes. So that's how post-conception age works. Now, if you're still having a little bit of a difficulty with understanding how post-conception age works, don't feel bad. Many people do, and they have to read it a few times and do a few examples before they can actually grasp it. And part of it is because they're trying to remember it and commit it to memory. You don't have to commit this to memory. That's what making notes for in your book is. So make some notes in your book. Not now. I would read these codes a few times. Do a couple of exercises with babies' ages like this so that the concept does make sense to you. And then at that time, make some notes once the concept makes sense to you. The reason why I say that is it'll make sense to you today after you've studied it for an hour or so. And then if you put the book away and you don't see this for 3 or 4 weeks, you have to refresh your memory. To have your notes there will make it pop back into your memory a lot easier. The other thing about making notes and highlighting and underlining in your book, if you have absolutely nothing in your book, it makes it a little more difficult to pick out your codes. But if you have too much highlighting, too much underlining going on in your book, it makes it very busy and you wind up having to read just as much. So it makes it just as difficult to locate your book, your code in your book. So what I suggest is to listen to the rest of the lecture. Think about how you want to make your notes in your book. Once you have read through the chapter, watched the lecture, and you feel comfortable with the codes, then make a decision on how you want to break out your notes in your book and what kind of highlighting and underlining you want to do. In my book, you can see now I've stopped to break things out. I haven't broke them out to too much because I'm familiar with this chapter, but I have broken them out by the section at the very least. So I have identified all my inguinal hernias right here and right here. Okay, all of my femoral hernia codes, my incisional and ventral hernia codes, and my epigastric hernia codes on this page. Right? When you are coding hernias, the things that you need to know is how old the patient is. Right? Whether the hernia is reducible, meaning can just slide back into place for the repair, or if it's incarcerated or strangulated, And again, that would be, it's trapped, and it is also strangulating the organ, tying off some blood to the organ, which is very dangerous, whether it's incarcerated or strangulated. Both of them are very dangerous type hernias. So you need to know the age, you need to know if it's reducible, incarcerated, or strangulated, and you need to know what type of hernia it is. And these are broken out, like inguinal hernias are down to your groin. So an inguinal hernia, that's always where it's going to be. So these are kind of also broken out to like where they are, just by default of what type of hernia it is. You also need to know if it's the first time they're repairing this hernia, or if it is a recurrent repair of the hernia. Right? So how old they are, what type of hernia it is, reducible, incarcerated, strangulated, where it is, inguinal, femoral, incisional, epigastric, and what type, and as well as if it's the initial repair or if it's a recurrent repair of it. So now let's look at the codes. 49500, 49501, all of these codes here, 49505, 07, 20, 21, and 25. These are all your inguinal hernia codes. They're broken out by age. 49500 and 49501 is for someone, a patient who is age 6 months to younger than 5 years old. Right? And 49500 is the reducible one. Right? I have not underlined or highlighted that. And 49501 is the incarcerated or strangulated. 49505 is also the initial. Both of these are initial. I'm not so sure I mentioned that. All right, 49500, 49501, initial. 49505 and 49507 are also initial inguinal hernias for age 5 years or older, with 49505 being the reducible one and 49507 being the incarcerated or strangulated. Now when we come down to 49520, you'll see that it is changed, that it is a recurrent hernia and it is any age. Right? So this would be a second or more, third or fourth repair to this hernia. Right? It's a recurrent inguinal hernia. That means they've already had one of these done before. Right? One of these up here. And they could be any age. This one's not broken out by age. So it's recurrent repair, reducible, 49520, or incarcerated or strangulated, 49521. Or 49525, repair inguinal hernia sliding any age. So this is also an inguinal hernia, but it's completely different from the other ones. It is in the category of a reducible hernia. There's no strangulation, there's no incarceration going on with it. But sliding any age, sliding means that it is a hernia that slides in and out of place. So some days you can feel it and some days you cannot. Where the other inguinal hernias, or most all other hernias, once they have popped out, they are there. You feel them all the time. But with a sliding hernia, it pops in and out. So this is the repair for a sliding hernia. In between here, we have one repair for the lumbar hernia. It's the only code for a lumbar hernia. And these are all of your open. They're going to make an incision through your skin to repair these hernias. These are not laparoscopic hernias. That's on the next page. So here, 49550 through 49557, we have the femoral hernias. And they are broken out initial. Right? So we got 49550. Any age, these aren't broken up by the age. Here's your initial for your reducible, and here's your initial for your incarcerated or strangulated. And this here is your recurrent. So see, I didn't underline these. 49555, this is your recurrent for your reducible hernia, femoral, and 49557 is for your recurrent incarcerated or strangulated femoral hernia. This code range, 49560 through 49566, again, is also broken out to initial or recurrent, right? It is not broken out by age, but these are a little bit different from the others in the sense that you have this add-on code down here, 49568. This code is when they use mesh, when they use the implementation of mesh. And the only time you can code, in addition to the primary code for the implementation of mesh, where hernias are concerned, is with these codes right here, the incisional and ventral hernias. The rest of these codes, you cannot use this add-on code for. You cannot code the mesh implementation in addition to. It doesn't mean that they won't use mesh on these other hernias. They can use mesh on these other hernias, but you do not get to code the mesh in addition to the hernia repair code. Only with these codes right here, the incisional and ventral hernia, can you use this add-on code for the implementation of mesh. You have a parenthetical note down here that also says it can be used with some codes in the integumentary section, some repair codes there, but we're talking about hernias today, so I'm just talking about this in regards to hernias. These are the only codes that you can add on the code for the implementation of mesh. So these are any age, they're broken out the same way. Here is your initial for your reducible and your incarcerated and strangulated, and here is your recurrent codes 49565 and 49566 for the recurrent codes for reducible and for strangulated. Okay, and so that brings us down to 49570 and 49572. These are repair to epigastric hernias. Okay. And reducible 49570, incarcerated or strangulated 49572. No mention of age. We turn the page and we have our umbilical hernias right here, 49580 and 49582, 49585 and 49587. These are the umbilical hernias right here. So 49580 and 49582 for the repair of an umbilical hernia younger than 5 years, reducible, and 49582 is the incarcerated or strangulated. 49585, the age changes, 5 years and older, reducible, and 49587, incarcerated or strangulated. You have a repair of a Spigelian hernia, 49590, and then these codes here, 49560 through 49611, 49600, I'm sorry, I may have said that wrong first, 49600 through 49611. These are all repair of hernias for umphalocele. That's how you pronounce this word, umphalocele. And an umphalocele is still in utero, so these are hernias that they can see while the baby is still in utero. Your notes, if you get any questions on the national exam for this, would be very specific. They wouldn't go into a whole lot of detail. This is more of an advanced area for coding. Now we come down to the laparoscopy codes. All right. Now I didn't write the note on this page, but remember when we were talking about page 261, all right, and that note I wanted you to make, I actually made it in my book on the top of page 289. Because that's what brings me right into the repair codes. And that's where I found the most room for it. But now, second guessing that in hindsight, it is a laparoscopic code. So I have the note here that says page 261, code 43281, 43282, laparoscopic paraesophageal hernia. This may be a good page to write it on, 290, because this is where your laparoscopic hernia codes start. And your laparoscopic hernia codes break out just a little bit different. I have a note here that says I cannot code 49568, which is the addition of the mesh, with the laparoscopic codes, because the description of these codes tell you when it includes mesh. So you don't get to code the addition of mesh. In the laparoscopic codes, they have incorporated it into the description of the code. So 49560 is your initial inguinal hernia repair. Now you see in this section I really didn't do a whole lot of breaking out. All right, so when you compare that to my other section, and if you like this kind of setup in your book for your note taking, you'll see I didn't do it here, and you can see it does make a difference. When I look at this, I'd have to really read the codes to find out which ones are my inguinals, which ones are my femorals, and which are the rest of the different types of hernias, because I made no notes there, so you can see the contrast. Over here, I actually highlighted them. Okay, so I did it a little bit different, so you can see how it would look either way. I personally prefer this method. but you need to do in your book what makes sense for you. So I tell my students, if this works for you, that's wonderful, use it. And if it doesn't, then just completely ignore it and make the kind of notes that you really like in your book. Okay, so when we come back down here, 49650, 49651, this is your initial inguinal hernia repair, and this is your recurrent inguinal hernia repair. And you see they do not break it out by age. All right. 49562 is your ventral, umbilical, spigelian, or epigastric hernia. Includes mesh insertion when performed. This is the reducible one. Right? At the top of the next column. 49653 is the incarcerated or strangulated. So in the laparoscopic section, they're breaking out the different types of hernias very differently. They're not grouping them like they did for the surgeries, the abdominal hernia surgeries, where they actually cut you open through the skin to access the hernia. In the laparoscopic ones, they break them out very different, and they don't use age. 49654 and 49655. So this is a laparoscopic surgical repair of an incisional hernia. It includes the mesh. So when we looked on the previous page at the surgical hernias, you got to add the mesh on to the ventral and incisional hernias, but in laparoscopic surgery, you do not. Right? So this code includes the mesh. All right? And it doesn't say that this is an initial, but it is an initial. And the reason why it is, these two codes are, is because 49656 and 49657 are repairs for the same exact hernias, but they specifically say that they are recurrent hernias. So this is the recurrent incisional hernia, right, reducible, and this is the recurrent incarcerated or strangulated hernia. Oops, sorry, my cat wants to get in on the class. This is the incarcerated strangulated in hernia, recurrent. So if these two are the same exact surgeries, but they're recurrent, then by default it makes these the initials. Okay, and then you have your unlisted code. So this concludes my lecture on hernia repairs. For those of you who are in one of my classes, if there is anything still that you'd like to ask me, feel free on any of these pages in class, and I will be happy to answer your questions. If you're in my online course, then feel free to email me, as well as discuss it with your other fellow students on the blogs that are out on our course space. And have a good day. Thank you.